Okay, so I've gone and jazzed up our report slightly. I've added an edit column. Well, I've changed the ID column to be an edit column. I'll show you how I did that. I've changed sorting, so only the name field gets sorted, so we can sort descending order, ascending order. And I've added a delete column. So let's take a look at what I've done with that. Well, let's hit edit. See, up here it changes to John Smith. Oh, to hello world, John Smith, test. Whichever one I click on, it goes to confirm it. Edit it up there. So what have I done in here? Well, let's take a look. Edit the page, go to the region. We see for report regions, we have an edit button. When I edit it, I get to see a definition for each of the columns in sort order 1, 2, and 3. But well, hang on, going back just a tiny bit. Take a look back here. This is a pop-up window. We also see that I've modified my query. Instead of just select star from the table, I'm now pulling back the 2 particular columns. I'm also pulling the first column again and just labeling it as delete. So that gives me the 3 columns that I can edit. Now by editing them, what am I doing? Click on the first one. So column 1 is going to have the heading edit. It's going to send to justify it. It's not going to export it, so it's not going to be included in PDFs and things. And it also has this URL. Well, this is a very special URL. This is key to how the whole system works. The system only ever launches one page. The page is called S. We see it in our URL up here. Everything is launched through page S, and page S takes one parameter, P. So our page, our summit page, has one parameter, P for parameter. And that parameter consists of the application that I'm running. Well, I'm running Summit right here, and I'm running page 72 of Summit, which is the column editor. And I'm passing in my session ID, which is my unique key to my particular session. I have a request string. Well, actually in this one, nothing. So there's a null here on this one. Am I debugging? No. And then I have a list of variables that I'm passing into the page. So for this particular page, I pass into it page 72 underscore ID, the value 549, which is the report that I'm editing, or the field that I was just editing, whatever it was. Actually, the report. Okay, so that's how the URL works. But if I put pound app pound, pound page pound, session, all these things pounded out, except for my request string here that I've hard-coded to the word edit, it will render or switch out those variables upon rendering and render up this hyperlink correctly. So let's close this, take another look what we did. Run the page. Okay, so I may have lost a few of you, but if I hover over, you see at the very bottom of the page, but let's take a closer look in. Inspect element. Okay, so now we can see that that URL that I had in the column definition has had all its values switched out automatically for the ones that I'm currently actually using. So my application, this one here, 147, not app 1, which is Summit. When I go into edit page, it flips me back into Summit and onto whichever page I want to edit with. Okay, so that's how the edit works, so how you can go about defining a particular column. What else did we do? Well, when I press edit, how does this work? What it's doing when I press edit, it's passing in page 20, which is the page I'm on. It sets a field on that page, page 20's underscore ID field equal to the value 2, or the value 7 for this one, 6 for that one, whatever. But we need to get that value into this field. How did that happen? Okay, so whenever I press one of these links, it does a hyperlink back to this page again, setting that value. edit the page. Let's go into the person form. In here I have added another value, and it's a hidden value, and it's called page20_ID. This value on the page is going to contain that item that I'm after, and also the page now has pre-processing. So we saw our post-processing before, that when I press the submit button it's going to insert a value into the table. Well, this one, it's going to say if that page item out of my session is not empty, select the value from the database where it is that ID, or build the string anyway, build the command, then execute it. Well, that's going to execute it and potentially bring back lots of records. Well, I'm only interested in the first one, so, and there will only be one because our ID is a unique field. But in this case, I'm just going to bring back the first item into my row, and then I'm going to set the item on the screen equal to the column from that row of records that it brought back, of which it only brought back one record. That's it. Simple, he says. Submit the page again, run it again. How does that work? Okay, so that's how it's working. When I press edit, it executes this URL, puts that value into that string, then the pre-processing picks it up, does a select against the database, and drops the value into this field. So delete. This one is setting the request string to delete. Well, I didn't actually do anything with edit. I'm not actually looking at that value, that request string. This one we would need to do some work on. I'm not actually going to do that. I'm just going to tell you what we're going to do with it, and you can do the rest of the work. So edit page, go to my person field. So what I would do here is, just a little bit to get you started, if, oops, the request equals edit, carry on and do what you were doing before. However, what we need to do now is the same thing again. If the request equals delete, build a different string. Build a SQL that says delete from people where ID equals the ID, and execute the query. And that's it. Done. But I'm not going to do that. That's for you to figure out. Now, for all the things I'm saying figure out, you can actually go over and look at samples that I've already done. I mean, Summit is written in Summit, so you can take Summit apart and look at what's behind this particular report. So here I'm actually using graphics. So what I've done is I've created a class on the column and replaced it with an image rather than words. Or you can go and take a look at any of the other applications that I will bundle with the tool when you install it. Okay.